Hey there, Modo friends. This is James the Mutant Pixel Darknell, and today I'm going to try something a little bit different. You may have noticed that the frequency in which I post videos is pretty random and not very often, and most of that is because it takes me time to rehearse and plan what I want to be in the video. So today what I'm going to try and do is just do something completely off the cuff, unrehearsed, and see if I can actually pull it off. And if you're watching this video, it obviously means I was successful. So this is something I've been meaning to do for a while and I just haven't had time. This is a function that was actually added in Modo 13 and it's a feature that I really like. And when you're selecting an edge, say we're in edge selection mode here, press 2. So when you're selecting a layer, you can see you get this highlight. And this is enabled here by your shortest path mode. Now I can disable that and add to that selection and hit Shift G to select between two edges. But then if I select here and then up here and hit Shift G, I end up getting all of these weird garbage loops. It's not something that I find useful. So unless you're selecting in a straight line between two edges, the Shift G doesn't really work that great. Well, I mean, it works great when you're doing that, but say you make a selection down here and then you're all the way at the other end and you can't even see that other selection, and you select that and hit Shift G, you're going to end up with something like that. So you can enable the select shortest path mode so that you can select something there. And if you want to select along the edge of this geometry here and then select there, you can hold down Shift and it ends up selecting the entire line down the side. And regardless of whether you have corners here or whatever, it's going to end up with a selection in there. I find this really useful, but then if you want to go back and select a second loop, well, it's going to end up selecting everything again down the entire loop, whether you want it or not. So what I want to do is I would like to make this select command, shortest path mode, I want to make it toggleable. So like Modo's sticky keys, where you can just hold down a key, have the command work temporarily, and then release the key, and then it turns off. So that is what I'm going to attempt to do here, is to make the shortest path mode a sticky key. So the first way of doing that, so we can select there, it's enabled right now, we can select it off. If we go in here to our command, and we lift this guy up a little bit, just click on that little divider between the two of them, you can see that since that was the last command we did, and if we want to turn that back on, we type this to true, and then you can see the command has been enabled here again, and then we can select our loop. But it's kind of a pain to have to type that in every time, so we could type in question mark and plus, and then I'm going to copy that, and that'll take whatever state is currently in and toggle it. So it's disabled right now, and I can paste that in there. Now you can see it's been enabled. So that is the command that we want to take and map to a key. So I'm going to map that, run the command, and then I'm going to right click on there and go to the map command to key. And I actually don't want this command, I want that command with the plus, the question mark plus on it. And then I'm going to hit the key that I want to map this to. Nope. I'm going to click up here and hit the key. So this is assigned to the viewport goto. This is a key that in all of my 12 years of using Modo that I've never actually used. So I'm just going to overwrite the G key feel free to choose whichever key you think works best for you. I'm going to use G, and I'm going to assign that command to that key. And I'm going to tell it it's okay to overwrite. So now, you can see right now it's disabled. So if I hold down the G key while I'm holding the key down, and then I press the Shift key, I can click again. So now you see it's not working. I can go over here and hit the Shift key, and then now I can press G again, and then hold down the Shift key, and then add to the selection. So that essentially does exactly what I wanted it to do. I can click a edge, hold down G, and then hold down Shift after that to lock in the selection. Hold down just Shift. Now release Shift. Press down G to enable the shortest path state. Now hit Shift. And then now I can select all the way around. So say that I had selected that one and I'm on the other side. I can hold down G to get my shortest path. And then Shift to lock in the selection. But if you don't want it to go underneath like that, no, come on, not cut, undo. Then I'm going to go G, and we're going to rotate here to the back and hit Shift, and then rotate around to the side, and down Shift and Shift. So I think that's a super easy way to be able to make selections. Now if you want to lock in this keyboard shortcut now as a permanent key, so say for instance you need to delete your config file, we can go here, and I'm going to go to config export, and I'm going to call this shortest path. And if you've watched my video on saving config fragments, you already know what I'm going to do here. Move this up, so shortest path config. This is automatically saving in my roaming Luxology configs folder. I'm going to hit save. And then we're going to save this as input mappings. And that's all we need to do is hit OK. So now I want to just double check. And I'm going to go to the open user configs folder. And here's my shortest path. Double click on that to open. I'm just going to open that with Notepad. And you can see right here, anywhere shortest path enable. And that's all we need. So that is now a permanent keyboard shortcut. So if we ever need to delete our config file and reinstate it, that keyboard shortcut will still work. Hopefully you found this video useful, and thanks for watching.